The holidays bring travel, and if you are anything like me, you may need to bring your data with you. Since I often travel to events with rogue wireless networks, like I'm talking to you, DEF CON, or I end up having to use my machines in crowded environments like hotel lobbies, I use a series of tools and products to keep my data secure while I am traveling. So here are my top ways to protect your data while traveling so that you don't have to worry about your digital security and privacy while you are on the go. One of the best ways to protect your data is by using an encrypted drive for storage. I have partnered with Kingston Technology to bring you this video just in time for holiday travel. Today I will show you exactly how I use my own Kingston IronKey VP80ES on a recent trip to keep my data secure. Huge thank you to Kingston for sponsoring this video. Now before you travel, you should take some precautionary steps to ensure that everything runs smoothly while you are away from home. So first, update your computer and smartphone, your drivers, and your software. A lot of popular vulnerabilities that attackers use have already been patched in the most up-to-date operating systems and software. But if you head out on a trip without updating, that could leave your devices open to risky situations. So doing a quick check of your settings for any update notifications is a very easy task to do to get ahead of many of the flaws that are out there and vulnerabilities. Next, turn off automatic connections to Wi-Fi, people, disable Bluetooth, and disable or turn off completely NFC. Opt to turn these on manually whenever you need them instead. A little perk, a side note of this security tip, is that this can also save batteries since your devices will not be struggling to find networks to connect to constantly, since the radios will be turned off. In terms of Bluetooth and NFC, both of these features can be used to siphon data off of your devices by nearby attackers. Whenever you leave Wi-Fi on, you run the risk of accidentally connecting to a rogue wireless network, where anyone else on that network could potentially see your actions. Make sure to choose a VPN provider for both mobile and PC, download and test it. Now there are plenty of solid VPNs to choose from nowadays that are easy to use on both mobile and PC. Using a good VPN is a crucial part of digital security while traveling because it will encrypt your data in transit from your computer. It will hide your real IP address, reroute your internet connection through a VPN server, and encrypt the data through something called an encrypted tunnel. Using a VPN has a secondary benefit in that it can help you circumvent geo-blocking, so you can still access things like live sports ball games or Netflix libraries or other streaming services or sites. Do you want my recommendations for solid VPNs that I trust? If you don't want to build and run your own, which is always another option, I can definitely do a whole video about that. Next, make sure to set up Find My or Smart Tags. Find My device is a feature found on popular OSs like Android, iOS that can track your device via coordinates on a map. If you misplace your phone or you leave it in a taxi, or if somebody steals your backpack with your laptop in it, you can use Find My on another device that's logged into the same account so you can see where the lost device is. You can use physical smart tags like air tags to track where your device is. I use a smart tag from Samsung in my suitcase if I have to check it so I can ensure that it's on the same plane that I am. Make sure it actually gets to the right state in the right airport. But just keep in mind, this will not work out of the box, and both the app and the smart tags need to be set up on your accounts in order to work right before you travel. Now prep your portable data storage of choice, like the ones I have in front of me. Set up your admin password or the PIN and customize options on your Kingston IronKey SSD or USB drive. This will encrypt your data while you travel, and it protects the files from brute force attacks if somebody attempts to guess the password to get in. Each and every single one of these uses a strong encryption protocol called XTS AES 256-bit encryption, and they are hardware encrypted with a secure chip actually on the device. I demoed each of these drives in my last video about securing your data while traveling, just in case you're interested. Speaking of which, these are the things that you should do while you are actually traveling. First, keep electronic devices with you at all times. Do not check them in your luggage because TSA locks are universal and they're very easy to break into. In fact, 3D printed TSA keys are a thing. They absolutely work. I have done it on my own test devices. They definitely work. It's really easy to break into luggage. If at all possible, leave all your devices unconnected from Bluetooth, NFC, and Wi-Fi. I already mentioned this, but especially Wi-Fi. Newer Bluetooth versions are more secure than older versions, so you do run less of a risk of using this if you want to listen to music on a pair of earbuds, for example, but Wi-Fi is inherently insecure, especially public Wi-Fi, even if it's password protected. Wi-Fi connections require your computer or phone to send out these requests to connect to known access points. Once your phone or your laptop finds one of those access points that it's memorized from previously, or you manually choose to connect to a new one, you are creating this handshake between your device and the wireless access point that feeds you internet. If a lot of other people are connected to that same access point for internet, those other clients may have the ability to see who else is connected. Since you have absolutely no control over public Wi-Fi access points, you don't know how it's set up and if that router was set up to give client devices security. So if you absolutely must use Wi-Fi, please use a VPN. This is a worst case scenario choice, but I know sometimes it happens. I know sometimes you have to use public Wi-Fi networks. Using a VPN will at least make you less vulnerable to folks snooping on your data. Now here's a pro tip. Make sure to subscribe to this channel. I focus on online security and privacy tips for average users all the time, thanks to my hacker background with Hack5, and your best line of defense is thinking like a hacker so you don't end up being the easy target. Moving on to another option, if you are forced to use a connection, try using a hotspot if that's available through your carrier. This ensures that you are in control of the access point being your phone, and you can set a password that only you know. That means that you would be the only client device connected to your access point unless you gave somebody else access as well. If you are using digital devices in public places, like an airport, don't say private information out loud and protect your screen from snooping eyes. It's a story time. One time I was sitting in an airport and a lady was on the phone with her bank and she was reading out her credit card information over the phone. Someone could have easily gone on a spending spree with the information that she was loudly sharing with everyone sitting near her at our gate. Don't do that. You don't know who's listening. Turn on auto locks or sleep schedules so devices automatically lock or they turn off the screen or shut it off. And lastly, during travel, turn on auto locking on your Kingston Iron Key as well. If it's not in use, you can set up the Kingston Iron Key to auto lock after a preset amount of time. That, plus auto-locking your screen, can ensure that nobody gets access to your data, even if they did gain access to your drive or your computer while you are not looking at it. Okay, so you've reached your destination, wherever that might be. Now what do you do? If you are having to stay somewhere like a hotel, try not to use the hotel Wi-Fi or the Ethernet. If you absolutely must, make sure that your devices are not discoverable on the network and never, ever allow your computer to automatically connect to the hotel Wi-Fi or remember it. I feel like a parrot here repeating myself over and over, but wireless is a huge vulnerability in waiting when we travel. So yeah, it bears repeating. Again, absolutely use a VPN for connections if you need to connect. And a pro tip, whenever you are staying at a hotel, don't tell anybody your room number. A lot of hotels use your room number and your last name as credentials to pay for things like restaurant bills or drinks at a bar or the hotel Wi-Fi access. If you give someone your room number along with your last name, or if they see it on a tag, like if you're going to a convention, wherever it might be, this gives them a very easy way to use your data to pay for things in the hotel. When using devices in public places, do not leave them unattended. I feel like everybody knows this one, but I'm gonna say it anyway. It only takes a few seconds for somebody to run up and steal a device. Take this example. I'm sitting in a hotel lobby and I lock my computer, but I leave it there unattended along with my Kingston Iron Key SSD. Somebody could easily come up and snatch my PC and the SSD that's plugged into it, or either or. Best line of defense is not leaving those devices unattended. Make sure you're locking those devices, or better yet, turn them off entirely when not in use. It only takes a few seconds to run like a USB rubber ducky script on a machine, and if the machine is unlocked, this makes an attacker's life even easier. Do not be the low-hanging fruit and make it a headache for an attacker to even think of targeting you. Make sure you are using a Kingston iron key so brute forcing is defeated. Take the example of us sitting in that hotel lobby. Let's say that I get up to just ask a question of the front desk. In that time period, a thief sees my computer locked, so they don't steal it, but they do snipe the SSD. The SSD auto-locked, and it is set to a password. So they try to unlock the SSD to steal my data, but they are met with a lock screen that will destroy the files if they keep on trying. They can't guess it, so they give up. Maybe they put the SSD back in the hopes that I won't even notice that it went missing. So is that a lot of steps? Not really. The hardest part is just doing the legwork before you leave, and then everything else can kind of just become a habit. Setting up encryption, making sure you do updates, and installing and figuring out how to use your VPN of choice, and just using good judgment for your threat model to ensure that you are best protected. Do you have any kind of cybersecurity travel tips? Make sure to share them down below in the comments. Thank you again so much to Kingston for sponsoring this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye, y'all.